Hey everybody, this is Ned Talks with Radeon again. Radeon, how's it going?
Doing well, man. It's been a long time. Great to be back here. How have you been?
I've been good, man. A whole lot of stuff's been going on. I just need to get back to recording and give you all some updates.
Yeah, what's going on? Start from the top. Tell me what you've been up to.
Well, I mean, still in the process of trying to figure out how to we're gonna sell this house that I'm in, and we're gonna sell one of my fourplexes that no longer cash flows because of the insurance changes in New Orleans. We've gone up about 300%, at least in the areas that I'm in over the past 3 or 4 years. It started right around COVID, maybe in a year or so into it when Hurricane Ida hit. And it was right after some other smaller storm that caused a whole bunch of damage as well. And so insurance companies didn't really take into account that they could get hit twice in a short period of time, so they didn't have the capital around to pay for it. So now all of the locals are paying for it.
Yeah, that seems like a lot. 300%. How about rents? How are rents? Have you thought maybe raising rents if possible so you can keep the property?
Rents have gone up, but on smaller residential stuff. So as people know, or as people maybe they don't know, with smaller residential property, anywhere from 2 to 4 units, small multifamily.
Mhm.
Small multifamily has taken probably the biggest cash flow hit because insurance rates went up pretty parabolically. But with larger and middle-sized stuff, anywhere from 5 to 50 units or so, those have been able to keep up because so I've got a fourplex and I've got a 20plex that both had the same cost of insurance. So when my rent went up in my fourplex, it went up. Let's see, went from 4,500 up to 6,000. That was
What time period is that? Is that just year over
that,
year?
that was over a 3 year period, and the 20plex, which was the same value, mind you, went from 12 or 13,000 to 19,000.
Wow.
So,
So value this
so
insurance is the same. Rent
and the
is
insurance on both buildings was the same before the storm and during COVID.
What
And so
about the
insurance went from 7,500 to 8,500 or so, and is now renewing at around 25,000
So why would the insurance be the same for these two completely different types of properties?
because the replacement value is the same.
Okay.
So the building that is the fourplex, the reason the replacement value is so much higher is it's in a historic district. So I have to rebuild everything to like historic code and make sure that the railings are look the right way and the exterior is done the historic way. And so replacement value on the 20plex is, I don't know, maybe 700,000, whereas replacement value on the fourplex is probably like 1.3 million as far as rebuilding them
Hmm.
to the spec that they're at.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's the big problem with being in a rental property that was built in the 1770s.
Okay. Well, I guess this would be a good case, where you sell. But I'm guessing the values have also gone up, so it's not like you're selling at a loss, right?
Oh no, not at all. I bought it for 481, and I think we're gonna sell for somewhere between 7 and 900.
Nice.
So,
Excellent. And then with that money, are you buying a Lambo or what's going on?
oh yeah, I'm gonna get two, three. I'm
Oh,
gonna get three with notes. That way I can lose all my cat. No.
as soon as possible. All
No,
right.
probably because we lived in it for, I believe, 2 of the last 5 years. I hope it's not just one of the last five. I'm pretty sure we're gonna save on all the capital gains. If you lived in it for 2 of the last 5 years, so you don't have to pay the capital gains. I think
Okay.
if it's one of the last five, and it ends up being 50%. Um,
Isn't it, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought if you're a married couple and the gain is under 500,000, then you don't have to pay, right? If you live
yeah,
in.
yeah. It's 250 per person basically.
Okay,
You
got
can't
it.
marry an extra person to make it 750.
Yeah, you never know, man. Nowadays, might have new law. And
But
tell me the story of your current property then. Why are you selling this one?
same thing with the insurance. Insurance went up a whole bunch, and the whole plan, the way that my wife and I kind of look at it is our property is part of our business. And the reason we moved out of one of our rental units into this one was at the time, rents had gone up so much, and this is a different building. This is a fiveplex we own.
Mhm.
That the note on the rent on that unit covered living in this house.
I
And
see.
so this house was costing us, I don't know, like 3K a month. So expensive.
Mhm.
But that unit was making way more than that. So when we moved out, it was a wash. So it effectively didn't cost us anything to move here, but insurance went up on that property too. So my wife and I were kind of like, hey, we sell this. We'll move in with family for a hot second. Then we're going to go and probably house hack again, just because our goals of cash flow are more important to us in the long term than having our own house. So I'm not going to, I don't plan on letting a house we really enjoy, unfortunately,
Yeah.
being the thing that holds us back from getting to where we want to go.
And I'm guessing this one has probably gone up a bunch as well, right? Or
No,
is
we're
it
actually going to take a
fine?
loss on this house.
Okay.
This is one of those stories you don't hear very often online where every now and then you make a couple of decisions that seem like they were smart in the moment, and then we're going to take a couple of hits. But then if you look at where we'll be standing from both a cash flow and cash perspective in 3 to 6 months, we'll be better off. But we're going to have to do a little bit of short-term pain and get rid of some of our cash and probably pay someone to buy this house from us because, I mean, I'm probably being a little too hard on myself. We might sell this and not lose anything, but
Mhm.
we still spent what is that? Comes out to be 70 or $80,000 to live here for 2 years, only to break even, which means we lost 70, $80,000 living in this house.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, sometimes, you gotta take a step back to move two steps forward. So that shouldn't be too big of a deal. But have you thought of all ways you can use the property? What about well, I'm guessing just it wouldn't work as a rental, right? And what about
Yeah,
Airbnb?
yeah,
So
that's the unfortunate thing is I think that it would rent for 28 to 3,200 somewhere in that range,
what
but
about
the note
short term or maybe midterm? Airbnb or corporate housing or nurses, etc.
um that doesn't I think the short-term thing has been made illegal in New Orleans. I think they're only grandfathering in people that are already doing it while they figure out what to do with it.
Hmm.
From a legal standpoint, just the whole concept. So, yeah, I mean, I thought about that. Actually, we've got this great locked in 3.75 or 3.9 or something like. It's a good interest rate. It's not
Yeah.
super good. It's not like sub two,
Yeah. Yeah.
which would be awesome. And with the way it is as a rental, there's certain parts in the backyard that when it rains really heavy, it can flood. And if you're not really diligent about keeping the drains clear of like pine needles and stuff like that, the first floor could flood. So it would be an awful rental because every time it would rain, I'd have to like run here in my car and like make sure all the well, you don't want a rental that you have to think about if I'm on vacation wherever I'm at or at business in Texas, I don't want to have to call my wife up at 2 a.m. and say, hey, by the way, run by the rental property, clear the pine needles out, because there's no way
Yeah.
the property management's going to do that.
Okay. Okay.
So stuff like that you have to think about with rentals. You want something that's, I'm sure you know this, you want something that just kind of like it's on coast. It doesn't need to be super hands-on.
Yeah, I mean that ideal. That's ideal. Well, you know how Matt talks about, well, it's acquisition first and then stabilization, which is the phase that I'm at now. I'm trying to stabilize the three properties that I have, and then it's some optimization after that. So once it's stable, then they can definitely keep looking forward and for the next one. But so when you sell this property, where are you gonna move to? House hacking?
We're gonna move to the North Shore. My family has an old farm that we've all kept. It's got a little farmhouse on it, so it's gonna be about an hour outside of the city. We're gonna go live up there for basically until we stack enough cash to either house hack again with a good small down payment where we don't have a big payment. And I think getting our payment below $3,000 should be pretty easy.
Yep.
So it might not be super long. Or I'm hoping that we see I'm hoping that a lot of the people that bought smaller, anywhere from 5 to 50 unit apartment buildings, locally in the New Orleans and the greater New Orleans area, they bought them in 2021 through 2023
Hmm.
before all these insurance rates went up.
Yep.
And so a lot of those buildings don't cash flow anymore, and they're going to have to retrade, and people raise money to go buy them. And I'm hoping that I can come in and help a bank out with a property somebody got a little too aggressive with their pricing assumptions on, because rent rates have actually gone down in New Orleans. With all the new product coming on the market, we've had a lot of new stuff come on. So a lot of these, but there's not very much affordable housing, and that's kind of where I like to be because the cash flow is better, and I'm more familiar with managing those tenants.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are afraid of managing lower income tenants, and I'm not really afraid of that. Just I like going in neighborhoods and taking on problem properties and being the one property where the owner's nice.
Hmm.
If you're the only
That's
nice
where the
guy in the
most
neighborhood
value is, man.
with low income, it's kind of a cheat code because suddenly
Mhm.
everyone's like, hey, that guy keeps the property clean. So you get all the good tenants, everyone else gets the bad ones.
Yeah, well, the problem properties, th those are the ones that have the most potential, the most value add opportunities. So yeah, I definitely look for those as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how soon do you expect to be done with these two selling transactions and maybe looking for the next one? What's the timeline?
We have a tenant moving out of the main unit in the fourplex that we're selling at the end of this month. So that's what is that, 18 days or so. So 3 weeks or two and a half, 3 weeks, something like that. And then
April.
we'll go in and do some small repairs. So that should be for sale in the next month or two.
And then are you going to
Uh,
keep that unit vacant just so you can make it available for like owner occupied for
Yeah.
side, or
So
are you
with
gonna...
this specific property, with most multifamily properties, you want to keep it fully rented, obviously to maximize value. But in the New Orleans area, we have a lot of properties that are different from other places in the country because our properties were built more for, let's say, like shop owners.
Mhm.
So way back in the old days, you can imagine like an old Texas, like Wild West movie where there's like the bar and then there's the living quarters above the bar, or like a motel, or however they ran their business. You would usually live above your business. And so what's happened is a lot of these old New Orleans properties that are multifamily, especially these old ones, I think this property used to be the pharmacy in Algiers Point. So the whole first floor was built as this big commercial property, which has been separated out into um, three residential units, and the entire second floor, which is 3,000 square feet, is one really nice unit. So it's more like an owner's unit. So the way I'm going to try and market to sell it is we're going to fix that up, or basically make the shell an easily renovated into whatever they want it to be type situation, where someone who's looking for a vacation house where they can just walk, basically, I think it's 9 blocks to the ferry and take the ferry straight into the French Quarter. This is a perfect vacation house where if they wanted to Airbnb or something like that, the main unit when they weren't using it, they could have a vacation house that paid for itself.
Okay, and that unit that's going to be vacant, are you going to put any work into that before you sell it, or just clean up and
It's kind of a wash. So the building needs about 250 to 400,000 in work. Um,
the whole
but
building?
but so let's say I could sell it now for 700, and then you put 400 into it, it probably sell for 1.2. But a lot of those renovations are going to be done through the historic committee and all that other stuff locally. So you don't
That's
know what they're going to make you change. And so
Yeah.
There's no guarantee I would make more or lose more. It's kind of
Yeah.
up to some committee somewhere.
Mhm.
And whoever buys this is probably going to want to make it pretty personalized. So I wouldn't make, I can't guarantee I would make more
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah. It
going
would
that
make
route.
sense just to get rid of it then, seems
Yeah.
like.
So that's kind of where we're at with that property.
And then what's the next? What's on the horizon?
That next would basically be to sit back, and I think that we're in the same spot that a lot of people in the investing community are thinking. I think we're waiting for a lot of the newer investors who came in a little too hot-headed, a little too confident and bought stuff maybe they shouldn't have. I think a lot of those smaller assets are going to go to investors that banks have been doing business with for longer. So I think we're going to see a lot of 5 to 20 to 5 to 50 unit buildings that really the bigger national banks don't want to to finance, but the small local banks do want to finance. Those are going to retrade locally, and I think that I'm either going to be looking for something like that or a really really good house hack. I'd love to do both at some point in the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, I mean, for myself as well, the my market is super hot. It's still everything is getting 8 offers over asking. That was the last deal. So I'm gonna focus on stabilizing my properties, and then maybe I'll do some driving for dollars and see if I can snatch a seller finance here and there. That'd be pretty exciting. I really want to get into that. But yeah, besides that, just holding on and waiting for properties to come on.
Yeah, I think that you're at the part that no one talks about, and it's the boring part between the parts.
Yeah. The real estate is what? It's 10% work and then 90% just waiting, right?
Yeah, and that's patience is the skill that I think has the most payoff in real estate. Because if you wait long enough, it'll smooth over. Like, for example, my wife and I could probably do nothing, and at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, these rental rates and these insurance rates would smooth out, and I'm sure this property that was cash flowing super well 2 years ago would go right back to doing what it was doing. But since our plans are to progress faster than that, I'd rather make moves now and allocate and try to, honestly, it sounds bad, but I think I can time the market a little bit because I know the local market well enough to kind of see what's happening with other people's properties.
Okay.
So,
Sounds good. Well, thanks for the update, man.
yeah, I know you got some work to do.
Yeah,
Getting some,
dumpster here. I gotta go take care of a dumpster at the property next door. But yeah, we'll uh we'll keep the updates coming.
all right, man. And thanks for coming on the channel, and I look forward to being back on yours sometime soon. Talk to you later.
Thanks. Take care.